Hey everyone, today I want to show you how I make cutout photography for clients' products. I've been sent nearly 40 hair products and they come in different shaped boxes and tubes, and I'm going to run through how I set up the backdrop, the lighting, the camera settings, and then I'll jump into Lightroom and Photoshop to show you how I actually cut them out and deliver them to the client. So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to show you that you don't need a beautiful photography studio to make amazing white background or cutout photography product shots. This is a room in our house. I've used this for many years and I've taken hundreds, if not thousands, of product photos in this room, and it's a really simple setup. You don't need really loads of expensive gear. It's pretty straightforward. So what I've got here, obviously I've got a white background here. This is an old vinyl white background that I've used for many years. It's not perfect. It's got scuffs on it from old nursery and school photo shoots, but it's white. And then here I've got this is just a thin 3 or 4 mil sheet of white acrylic plastic, and that's where the product sits. So you know, the item is going to go on there, and the reason why I use it white, obviously if you were going to put it on this sort of beige coloured table, then that colour will reflect into the product, so it's got to be white. So that's your basic setup. Then I've got 2 lights. Now these are, again, really old lights, but they're really trusty and I know how to use them well. They're Bowen's Gemini GM 500R. Again, it doesn't really matter which lights you have, but I've got a 2 light setup, one from each side. And when it comes to camera placement, I'm using a tripod, and that's for consistency. So each product, there's loads of products in these two boxes. Each product is going to have the same angle. If you imagine all these products are going to be on a website being sold, if they're all sort of skew-if, some higher, some lower, some straight on, the client's not going to appreciate that. So this keeps it consistent. Now, I might have to tweak it a tiny bit because they're not all the same size products. Like some of them are tall, thin cylinders. We've got these are in boxes, they're similar size, but then you've got some smaller ones as well. So I might have to tweak it a bit as we go, but generally I won't really sort of touch this tripod. So in terms of settings for camera and lights, the lights are turned up to almost maximum power. And that's because I want to have a low ISO and a high f-stop. So with my camera, I know I'm switching this to manual, and again, you can use any camera. This is a 5D4, but I've done loads on a 5D3, I've done loads on, when I first started out, there was a 550D. So if you've got a manual DSLR, you can do it on any camera for white background or cutout. So I'm going to set my camera to manual. I know that I need a shutter speed of 160 with this because that's what that syncs with. It's the fastest it will sync with these lights. I'm going to go to f20, and that's so I can get the maximum depth of field. And my ISO, I'm going to start with 800 and see where that gets me. I'm pretty sure that that'll be about right. The lens that I've got here is a 100mm macro lens. Again, you can do it with a 50mm or an 85mm, or you could, even if you've got like a 70 to 200 or something like that. I wouldn't go any wider than 50 because it starts to distort the edges of certain products and lines don't look straight. But yeah, this has been great, this 100mm macro lens. And these aren't the biggest products, so this should work well. So I'm going to do a test shot anyway. I've got my remote trigger, so if I press this button, it should, yep. So I'll whack that on there. I can see in my frame, I've got the product there, it'll focus, take the picture, and yeah, that looks good in terms of exposure. It's all focused. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go through each of these products. I'm going to wipe them down and make them look as nice as possible before I actually take the photo, to save any time in post-production, faffing around, cleaning up. And I've already spoken to the client about how, like, you know, little things that will annoy the client if I don't get them right, like having this the right way forward, and having, you know, these things all need to be facing the right way. And I've already had that discussion with the client. So I'm going to just go through each product now, take the photo raw, and then we'll jump into the edit. Okay, that's all done. 39 products shot. Now I'm going to pack all these back up so the client can have them back, and I'm going to take this into the edit. I'm going to increase the clarity a little bit and the contrast, the saturation, just to get it right. Basically just edit it to make it exactly how I want it. And then if I right click, develop settings, copy settings, check all, copy, and then select all with Control and A, right click, develop settings, and paste. That'll paste the settings across the entire collection there. There's actually 38 images, so if I look through these, that should have brought them all into the correct exposure. Okay, so I'm happy with all of them. What I'm going to do now is show you how I would take that image and turn it into a cutout, so it's got a transparent background. I'll just choose one, so I'll go with this volumized shampoo. I'm going to right click it and I'm going to edit in Photoshop. Then when that's up, what I need to do is I need to duplicate this layer. So duplicate that layer. Okay, so I've got a copy of that layer now. I don't need that one, so that can go away. And then I'm going to create a new layer here, which is automatically a transparent layer. I'm going to put that one underneath. So if I get rid of this top layer, which is the picture, I just get a transparent layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut round the product, leaving just the product, and then the background is transparent. And the way you do that is with the pen tool. So here on the left hand side is the pen tool, or press P, and then making sure that you're on the right layer. If you zoom in, you have to literally cut around. So I'm clicking 1, 2, 3, and I'll get to this corner here, and I'll zoom in a bit. I'll get to here, and then the next one I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to drag it until I get the right one. Now if I hold Alt, I can drag this to exactly the shape that I want. I can see that this is the direction that the next bit's going to go. So if I click up here, it's going to go that way. If I press Control and Z, and this one, if that one was over there, it does get dragged over that way. But if that happens, don't worry, because you can just press Alt and sort of tell it where it needs to go next. So I'm going to go around the whole thing here. Okay, so I've gone around the whole thing. I'm just about to finish up this. So the last couple of clicks, what happens is, as I get to the end, I'll see a little circle. I click that, and that completes the path. Then if I go over to paths here and double click it, I'll have the work path there. If I double click it, so I can save the path, press OK, and that path has been saved now. If I right click it, press make selection, you've got a choice. A feather radius of 1 pixel. You can have whatever you want, and that's how much it blends into the background. 1 pixel for this is perfect. So I'm going to press OK, and that's going to select that. Okay, so that path has been selected. Now obviously if I delete that now, it's going to delete the wrong thing. So if I Control Z, I need to select the other bit. So if I go select inverse, that selects everything else apart from that, and then press delete, then that's the product. So if I go back to my layers here and go back to the layer below, I can, if I wanted to, put a colour in the background. And you can see that it has all been completely cut out. Okay, so I'm happy with that. That works. Obviously, I don't actually want to colour there. The next thing is to go through and tidy up any blemishes on here. So we've got some marks here. Oops. We've got some marks here. And we've got some marks here. And this is why we wiped the product before actually photographing it, because this bit is what will take all of your time. The cutting out and the cleaning up. So if you can kind of do as much work as possible before actually taking the photo. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache when it comes to actually finalising the product. So I'm just going to go to my healing brush. I'm going to select an area and basically just go around and make sure I'm on the right layer. And I'm going to clean up. Okay, so now this is ready, it's been tidied up, it's been cut out, it's ready to go to the client. I need to save it, and I want to save all of the images in the same format. It's obviously PNG because it's got a transparent background, but I want them all to be the same size. So when they come to putting them onto their website, it's easy for them. So I'm going to create a new document, and it's going to be pixels. I'm going to set it at 3000 by 3000. Resolution 300 pixels per inch, create, and then I'm going to do the same because this comes up with, I should have set that to transparent background, but I didn't, so I'm going to create a new layer and just delete the bottom one. So that's transparent. Then I'm going to select all with Control A, copy, Control C, and then paste, Control V. Now obviously it's quite big, and that's because of the resolution of the camera. I don't think really it needs to be much bigger than 3000 by 3000. Obviously, if they told me that they were printing onto a big billboard or something, then I'd give them full high res. But that comes with a cost with big file sizes. So normally 3000 by 3000 is more than enough. These are just going on a website. So I'm going to rescale this down to size so it fills the frame. Then I'm going to save a copy, and I call it Volumize Shampoo. Save as type, PNG, save, smallest file size, okay. And that is how you make cutout product images for your clients. Now I am going to cut out the other 37 now. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe.